quick look at the market at lunch hour today. And there is green on the screen when it comes to both Sensex as well as Nifty, closer to the high point of the day, all fueled up at lunch hour when we talk about the key indices. But look at the broader markets, and it's the bank Nifty, which is in the red, though 0.15%, while it's the mid-cap universe. Remember, this is the spot of the worry from the previous week as well, and the mid-cap universe continues to see weakness as well as sell-off even on Monday in this particular week. So we have to see the trajectory going forward as far as advanced decline is concerned, because of the broader market really not participating and showing weakness there. It is on the side of the decline, so weakness when it comes to the market breadth. Now, starting also with our daily COVID update for the country then, and lower than 40,000 fresh cases detected for the third straight day on Sunday, and active cases fall by over 3,800 as recoveries continue to outpace the case additions for COVID-19 situations. In terms of the deaths and people succumbing to the virus, well, 417 were recorded over the last 24 hours in the country, while a sharp spike in positivity rate was seen as testing to drop significantly on Sunday. So those are the key numbers when it comes to the virus situation in the country. But the answer that we have to find is the vaccination drive. And let's get you a stock on where we stand on the vaccination front across the country. And 17.43 lakh doses were administered on Sunday, taking the total doses administered in the country to date to about 54.5 crores in the country. All right, moving on to some big international story of this day. The Taliban swept into Afghanistan's capital, Kabul, on Sunday morning and embattled President Ashraf Ghani, who reportedly negotiated for a transitional government with the Taliban, left for Tajikistan with his close allies. Now, the US, the UK and a handful of NATO alliance members announced the departure of their diplomatic staff from Kabul yesterday. And NBC's Jennifer Johnson gets us the latest details and the ground report from there.
As the Taliban continues its rapid takeover of Afghanistan, seen here inside the presidential palace in Kabul, the Biden administration is defending its decision to pull troops out by August 31st, blaming Afghan security forces for not protecting their own people.
The international community invested over 20 years, billions of dollars in these forces, 300,000 of them. Unfortunately, tragically, they have not been able to defend the country.
At Camp David, President Biden is getting updates from his national security team, while stating 1 more year or 5 more years of U.S. military presence would not have made a difference. The president has called in troops to evacuate embassy staff members, weeks after he dismissed comparisons to the airlifting of Americans out of Saigon during the Vietnam War. Some Republicans see it differently.
This is President Biden's Saigon moment, and unfortunately, it was very predictable. It seems like many in President Biden's intelligence community got this devastatingly wrong.
Afghans are fleeing to the Pakistan border, while the Taliban is freeing thousands of prisoners, including al-Qaeda fighters. Afghanistan's president has left the country, while negotiators try to convince the Taliban to allow a peaceful transfer or sharing of power. Translators and others who worked for the U.S. fear for their lives.
They have to take care about us. It is our turn to be helped. We help them.
Aid workers are predicting a humanitarian disaster and renewed Taliban violence against women, as many Afghans beg the U.S. for help. Jennifer Johnson, NBC News, Washington.
All right, that's the ground report coming in from Afghanistan. And even as Taliban take over the capital city of Kabul, Indian diplomatic staff are still in that city. What is the Indian government's response to this crisis? My colleague Parikshit Luthra is tracking the development very closely and joins us with all the details. Parikshit, good to have you on Business Lunch. Now, the situation is tense over there in Kabul, and we need to evacuate our people. What is the government doing at this point?
Well, India has been evacuating its citizens, its diplomatic staff from different consulates over the last 1 month or so. The speed of Taliban takeover of the presidential palace and seizing power and Ashraf Ghani fleeing. This is something that has really taken the Indian government and many of the Western democracies by surprise, by a big surprise as well. At this moment, the commercial flights, all commercial flights to Afghanistan, to Kabul, have been stopped because the airspace has been termed as unstable. The airport, the Hamid Karzai International Airport in Kabul, is under Taliban control right now, and no airliner wants to take their flights there right now. In fact, we spoke to Air India officials and they said that they had a flight scheduled for Kabul today, and that has been suspended because the airspace there is closed. So Air India carries out a flight to Afghanistan, to Kabul every day of the week. And for the moment, those operations are suspended. Yes, our ambassador, our diplomatic staff are still in Kabul, in the embassy, and contingency plans are being made to evacuate them. A high-level crisis meeting was called by the cabinet secretary, top officials of the Ministry of External Affairs, intelligence agencies, Ministry of Home Affairs and Defense were there as well in order to find out what's happening on the ground, the threats to the Indian embassy, the officials there, and what can be done to bring them back safely. A lot of confusion because we don't know who is going to be in power. Taliban has said that a transition government will be announced very, very soon. Right now, the Indian government does not know who to negotiate with over there, who to talk to. So a lot of chaos, confusion on the ground. The Taliban is saying that that a new regime, the contours of a new regime will be formulated and shared with the public very soon. Ashraf Ghani had fled Kabul for Tajikistan on Sunday. He said that he took the move so that the nation does not bleed, but the nation has been bleeding over the past 3 to 4 months or so. We're seeing chaotic scenes at the Kabul airport as people scramble to get out of the country. A lot of diplomats and high-ranking officials have left the country. The US is sending about 6,000 troops to Kabul to take control of the airport specifically, their air traffic control, and make sure that Americans, the local staff who was supporting the embassy and interpreters are able to move out of Kabul, and America is able to evacuate them. So that is the focus. America is saying that we are not going to change our mind about what's happening in Kabul. We're not going to change our plan about troop withdrawal. We're only sending troops to make sure our staff is evacuated. Back to you.
I have never felt it to this extent, helpless, hopeless, disappointed, poor and miserable in my life. All our 20 years achievement maybe just go in blinks of few days. I was a child when they were here, when they were there. Now I am an adult. I have seen how these people are. Yes, we accept US should leave the country, but why this way? At least they should come a little bit, given some time. Our government, they should stay at least inside. They should not create this vacuum. Try to protect what we have achieved in the last 20 years inside the country. Our women, girls, education should be allowed. Even it's not only about women in Afghanistan. Even the men, they are not protected. They are not safe. It's not about only my relatives or my friends. It's about my country. It's about 30 million of my people.
All right, so that's the latest coming in from the past struggle in Afghanistan. We'll keep you updated on the latest. With that, we'll slip into a short breather on Business Lunch. More news and updates follow on the other side.